this episode, so I think I'm just going to kind of ramble about some random things that come to mind. Um, I remember I ended the last episode with me dying to some zombie pigmen, or not zombie pigmen, maybe zombie pigments, uh, in the nether, and I had to go back and grab all of my things, so bear with me, I forgot to sort my inventory, so I'll do that real quick. Just have everything as I like to have it. Somewhat at least. Okay, should be good enough for now. Just have my toolbar at least situated. Go in here and drop all this stuff off. Villagers are being quite noisy right now. Alright, so we'll put this in there, put this in there. Put up the blaze rods we got, put up the gas tier. Hold on to the gold nuggets for now. I think everything else can go in some other containers. Alright. Oh, I hope that's not too loud. It sounds kind of loud on my end, but I was messing with the volume settings before I started recording to make sure that it wasn't going to be too loud, but who knows. Sometimes things get a little more loud than I would like. Sorry, I'm trying to check OBS while I'm moving through just to make sure that nothing's too loud, but it doesn't look like anything's too loud, so it should be okay. I was attempting to adjust the... where did I put the leather? There it is. The volume settings before starting the stream, or not stream, I keep saying stream, the recording, to make sure it wasn't too loud, but it seems like no matter what I did, the volume would stay about the same, which is annoying, but it doesn't seem to be surpassing the bounds I set for it in OBS, so I think that's okay for now. Let's see, what else do I want to put up? I think we can just hold on to everything else. Put this coal up. So, I'm debating whether I should just go back down into my mines and keep mining for diamonds, or if I should sleep and maybe explore. I'd like to find a desert biome. I think that'd be interesting to see. I haven't seen one yet, so maybe we'll do that. I need to make another sword if we're going to do that. Let's see, do I have any steel on any of these? Steel iron. It's been a while since I've had to go through these. I could just make a diamond sword, but I'll leave that for later. Got enough of these. Where's my crafting bench? There it is. So we have another sword. Anything else I need to make? I've got plenty of food. I think that's fine. Got enough pickaxes. Should be okay. Maybe some more arrows if I have them. Doesn't look like I have them. Let's see. What do I need? Flint, stick, and feathers. I'm gonna leave the... Got plenty of feathers. We can make some more arrows, I suppose. Just need the flint. The flint is the most rare component. Alright. Let's make a max stack here. Okay, that should be alright. I can get more sticks if I need them. Alright, so let's sleep. And then once it's daytime, hop on the horse and we'll head out to find a desert biome. While I think about something to talk about. I've been... I guess this is nothing new, but I'm always on the lookout for a new podcast or podcasts to listen to. I used to enjoy listening to a couple different podcasts, but I found over time that the people running the podcasts were becoming more and more polarized in either a political direction or a social direction, and it's really just, in my opinion, especially since these podcasts aren't politically or oriented or oriented towards social activism or even reporting for that matter. Most of them are just supposed to be funny, just like pure entertainment, not necessarily informative in the sense that maybe, or the news would be, or even educational for that matter. But entertainment podcasts can run the gamut, but usually they just focus on entertainment value and nothing else. I find that more of these podcasts, I guess we'll head this way, or we'll go the other way actually. Anyways, I find that more of these podcasts they become polarized by their own uh, viewership or viewer base or listener base, and they find that the more they lean in a certain direction, the more attention they receive, or in certain cases, subscribers, um, paid downloads, whatever, Spotify listens. And for me personally, it really ruins the enjoyment of the podcast because it feels like they're trying to sell you something. And I don't mean in the sense of like an advertisement. Oops. I mean in the sense of like an ideology, but I feel like it's less so that they're trying to sell people who aren't convinced of an ideology, and more so that they're trying to cater or pretend to be aligned with the interests of the majority of their viewership. Um, I'm not going to name any names, even though it doesn't really matter. I'll keep those opinions to myself. If you enjoy something, go on and enjoy it. I'm not going to tell you not to enjoy it. It's just been a problem for me. And, it's annoying because I used to enjoy listening to those podcasts to pass time while I'm during downtime, while I'm doing stuff around the house, driving to work, sometimes even at work if I can, if it's slower or I don't have as many responsibilities that day. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe other people have experienced this as well. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I don't claim to be the enlightened centrist, but with the mass amount of polarization that happens these days, uh, it's easy for me to get really tired of it. Wow, that is a ton of pumpkins. Look at all those. Don't need any more pumpkins right now, though. I'll leave those alone. Just keep going this way on the horse. You know, I used to enjoy. Some of them have YouTube channels as well, where they'll post the video portion of the podcast, but you can also listen to it. I don't really know if you can call it a podcast if they have a video portion. I thought podcast was more for just audible consumption, but either way, some of them have the primary format is video, and I used to really enjoy watching their content because it was entertaining, it was funny, somewhat informative, but usually nothing, educational, just dumb news that they would come up with. And I think from time to time, just consuming nonsense is okay. Um, I think if you consume nonsense all the time, it's not the best thing in the world for you. But it's important to relax and kind of just shut your brain off occasionally, especially in this hyper-stressful world we live in now. Everybody makes the argument that these are the best times to be alive, and while I don't necessarily disagree with that at face value, I think it's a bit of a uh, I can't think of the fallacy this time. I want to say red herring. I don't think that's the case because I think a red herring is something that they like bait on a hook kind of thing where it's used as a distractor from another problem. But I think it's just a bad argument because, of course, things would typically get better as time goes on, right? Like evolution shows us that, in nature, species either go extinct or they improve. If things got worse, we probably would not have made it to the point as humans that we've made it to, right? So it makes sense to say that this is the best time to be alive, but that argument essentially attempts to deny the fact that it could be better, and undoubtedly, what are these guys? I've never seen these guys before. Oh, that's really cool. Do I have bones for them? That's fine. We'll just leave them alone. That's not the mission right now. Anyways, I was talking about. Oh, that was startling. Anyways, man, I was trying to avoid the water. We might have to cross this. But the argument that it's the best time to be alive, I feel like is just kind of like saying, yeah, duh. But they are essentially saying that it couldn't be better and that you should just be happy to exist at this time. And I don't think that that's a fair argument, as I already stated, because it could be better, right? It could always be better. And I don't think we should say or should stop striving for improvement just because it's good now or it is the best that it's been, uh, right? It, and that's not necessarily true for everywhere in the world, right? It's just certain countries, certain developed nations, it's argued that it's the best time to be alive. They always make the argument like, oh, technology is at a point that we have technological advancements that couldn't even be imagined by people in the past, which is absolutely true. And along with those technological advancements come medical advancements that have allowed us to essentially live past our natural lifespans as humans. Um, that is a whole nother can of worms, because the, something that rings true, especially for healthcare, is that quantity does not necessarily beat quality. You can live for a long time artificially, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be living well or happily. Um, these birch trees are really tall. Man, I've come up to another ocean. I might just be stuck on an island. There's a chasm here. I don't think I can cross that. But I digress. I'm getting a little off topic. I, um, I don't really know how I got from podcasts to that argument, but I think it's also an interesting topic to consider. Um, Excuse me, sorry, I thought I was gonna burp. Oh, this is cool. I've never seen this before. What are these? Let me get off the house real quick. Huh. Well, I don't know what this is, but that's cool. I haven't seen that. Uh, but yeah, I wish. I think it's kind of the point with social media that you, because there are so many people competing for the same audience, you either have to cater to your fans or attempt to remain true to your own personal values, not grift, as they say, and risk suffering, failure, or not necessarily absolute failure, but losing a large market share, because that's what it is. Essentially, it's a market share. You're selling your product, which is your entertainment, at the value as valuable to advertisers to pay you to promote their products, right? To your viewership, and then of course they also have turtles. I thought this might be a desert, but I think it's just a beach. Um, I think people should be allowed to come to their own conclusions, and I think a lot of these uh, podcasts or even entertainers, or people who call themselves reporters or informers or what have you, they start to polarize. They make echo chambers, right? Because of course, as the more and more that they polarize their what would you say, product, I suppose, the more likely people are, or the people who agree with them, are to flock to them because of confirmation bias, right? And that's just dangerous because echo chambers beget misinformation because people, again, with confirmation bias, want to hear what confirms their pre-existing notions, and when there's no pushback from, people with other opinions, not even necessarily what I would refer to as opposition, but other opinions, these people convince themselves that they're absolutely correct and that there is no counter argument, and anyone who says otherwise is a XYZ. You hear it all the time. They just start labeling people things and saying, oh, because you're this, I don't have to listen to you, right? I don't have to entertain your argument or your opinions, or in some cases even facts. You're wrong because I don't like you. Essentially, is what it comes down to. Oh, look, some foxes. Those are cute little pups. I I, I think little foxes are called kits. I can't remember. Anyways, doesn't look like we're making a whole lot of progress here. I think I might actually be stuck on an island, unfortunately. I might have to head back and hop on a boat. That might be my only way to find the desert, which is unfortunate, but we can do that. Yeah, it just seems to be beach biome after. Whoa, uh-oh. Okay, good. Yeah, alright, I think we'll head back and we'll travel by boat. But, what can you do? That's just the state of social media and really the internet in general, unfortunately. I think people are so, or most people, the average person is so stressed by, by modern life that at the end of the day, they don't have the internet energy to contend with processes that require critical thinking, like contending with misinformation or propaganda, what have you, and they would rather just form an opinion based off of the opinion of someone they like or the opinion of somebody who stands for a movement that they agree with, and kind of like the problem with line item, or I believe it's called line item voting, or where you essentially just vote for a candidate because they are a part of the party that you like and you know nothing about the candidate otherwise. Alright, this is getting annoying. There's way too much water here, and there are a ton of enemies. Jeez, this is gonna be really loud. This is the problem with horses, is that they don't cross the water. Anyways, and I think, man, sorry, this is very frustrating. I'm just trying to explore, and this terrain is annoyingly impassable for the horse here. Uh-oh. Gotta stay away from those guys. I don't want them to blow my horse up. Alright, gotta keep going. Um, modern internet social media is a broad space for bad actors to take advantage of vulnerable people. And again, I don't think that most people are stupid. I think it's that these people are just too stressed or too occupied by trying to make it through their daily lives that it's just plain easier for them to behave in the way that they behave on the internet, because critical thinking is hard, it's tiresome, it's difficult. Well, I already said hard, but it's difficult, tiresome, so it's not something that you just inherently know how to do. It requires practice, and people just don't want to do that, I think, for various reasons. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt and think that's because, you know, they're just overstimulated, tired, overoccupied, stressed out. They don't have the bandwidth, for one reason or another, to contend with the issues that require a critical approach. Um, and then on top of that, it feels good to feel like you're a part of a community. I feel like so many people feel disenfranchised this franchise these days. They have nowhere to belong. They don't have a purpose. And these echo chambers, these groupthink, these areas of situations that foster groupthink, provide these people with a sense of community, even though it's probably not a good community to belong to necessarily, uh, especially when it doesn't inspire one to think critically. Uh, a lot of these places will downright deny your ability to do so. They will criticize you for attempting to think independently or critically, and that's when it becomes really dangerous because these people become invested in these groups, and they don't want to lose that connection they feel with other people. These things are annoying me. Let me get rid of it. There's got to be a faster way to travel. This horse is just not doing it for me. And it's not cooperating to get out of the water either. Anyways, it's I think it's worse now than it's ever been before. The internet can be used for it's a very powerful tool, and it can be used for good or it can be used for bad. And I think at this point, unfortunately, it's being used for more bad than good, depending on your investment in certain parts of the internet. If, for example, if all you use the internet for is to check, well, that's not even a good example because a lot of news sources aren't even valid. They behave the same way, just they're a lot better at hiding it. I don't know. It's a very complex topic, and it's of course not only subjective but also complex. So it's for me, it's obviously more of an opinion. I'm not going to pull up any or attempt to pull up any research right now saying that the internet is more polarized now than ever before, but I would say based on the current social zeitgeist, at least in my country, America, United States, if people are saying that our society is more polarized than ever before now, then it's likely that the internet is, at least the parts of the internet that Americans frequent, are likely to be more polarized than ever as well. One second, I'm drink some water. Sorry, talking a lot, need some water. Alright, well, I guess we can sleep again and make a boat and see where we can get to. There's a boat, we already got one. Maybe we'll pick up on the boat in the next episode since it's getting close to 30 minutes. We'll do, man, not much was accomplished there. Just rambled in circles as well. Didn't really come up with anything important, but I don't think that there is necessarily a definitive answer to say um, if the problem really does exist, or it's as bad as it seems, or if I'm just overexposed to certain parts of the internet that are susceptible to the issues that I mentioned, like echo chambers or propaganda, misinformation. But I think one thing is certain, and that's undeniable, that this is a problem on modern spaces, or spaces in the modern internet. Um, Now, the question remains is how abundant is it? I think it's undeniably problematic, but how much of an issue is it really? And I think, unfortunately, we may not learn how problematic it is until we we see the younger generations grow older and become more influential in real world spaces because they are the ones who are going to be most affected by this, sadly, because they are growing up in these spaces. They are generations of, and my generation was as well, but to a lesser degree because the internet was still somewhat of a fledgling creation, especially social media. I should specify that I'm referring more to social media now, and not just the internet in general. But when Facebook wasn't a thing while I was growing up, at least not to the extent that it is now, or Reddit or Twitter or any of these other. I mean, some of these are worse than others, obviously, but social media in general wasn't really a thing like it is today for the younger generations, and I think they are going to be much more affected by it than my generation and older generations were. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see the effects of that until they are older. But I don't see how anybody could argue that these spaces are affecting them well. I think it's very toxic for them. I think social media has been a net bane on society, and it should have been moderated long ago, but unfortunately it's too late for that now. The beast has been unleashed, and I don't see any way to put it back into the cage. And we're going to have to find ways as a society to contend with that moving forward, or risk um, continuing down the path that we're currently on, which does not seem like it will end well for us as common people. The wealthy people will always be okay, and the poor, unfortunately, are already not doing well. So the people who stand to lose the most from uh, social clashing are the common man, the average person. So hopefully we'll figure out a way to bridge the divide between people on both sides of the spectrum at any point in the spectrum, um, to realize that we all need to stand together, stick up for ourselves, because I firmly believe the real problem in any developed nation and across the world over are um, the the ruling wealthy elite, the oligarchs that run the world, that operate. And I know this is starting to sound a little conspiratorial, but I don't think it is conspiratorial at this point that wealthy people run the world, right? Like, I think that's just inarguable. Now, how far you want to go with that is where you start getting conspiratorial. Like, do you think that wealthy people are rigging elections? That's more conspiratorial. But I think objectively, wealthy people do run this world, and our votes, as valid as they may be, have very little actual say on the outcome of our politics and legislation, and it's quite unfortunate. But I think anybody with eyes and age to understand, experience, wisdom, if you will, um, can see that the system does not work for us being the common person. It's broken, and I'm just hoping it's not irreparably damaged, because I still have many years ahead of me, hoping all things go well, but I would like those years to get better as time goes on. Like, those people always make the argument that things get better with time, right? Or that we're currently living in the best times. I hope that's not true. I hope times get better. I hope that they don't get worse. But right now, it seems like we're at a tipping point was on my mind while I was running around. Um, Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your opinion? I'm genuinely interested to see how y'all feel about the conversation. Also, if you have any recommendations for what you would like to see in a future video, please let me know. I would love to have ideas to play with to make the videos more interesting for y'all. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this one. Next time, we'll go out on the boat